Excuse me. So after you do the histogram one, do this one because this one is like that one's slightly more advanced Big Brother. Okay. If you try and do this one first, you can totally do that, but it will make the next one seem kind of like okay, is this all there is to it? And the answer to that is yes. And so when you run into this one, you're going to know that it's different because when you grab these, you get a line, okay? And you get a line instead of a bar, all right? And so that's what we're going to create here. These are frequency polygons. Actually, I think this is the right one. Let me double check this here real quick. Yes, okay. So there's another one that's called cumulative percent polygons, that one's a little bit different. We'll get to that one in the future. All right, we probably won't make it there today. But this one is almost exactly like the histogram problem, except for instead of entering your class boundaries, you're going to enter what's called a class midpoint. Okay, so it says right here, label each class with its midpoint. And this is where scratch paper is going to come in handy, okay, because it's not as straightforward as setting up your class boundaries like you did in the histogram problem, but you have to do that step first, all right? Alex is just not asking you for that step, but you still have to do it in order to get the correct answers on each one of these, okay? And so it will still ask you in one of two ways. It'll either give you the initial class boundary and the class width, or it'll give you the start and ending class boundaries, and you'll have to figure out how many classes are between them, okay? So either way, that works exactly like the histogram problem, but this one, you have to label it with its midpoint. So that's going to be the point between the two boundaries, okay? And so here we go. So this one, initial class boundary of 14.5 and an ending class boundary of 49.5. Do this on scratch paper, okay? So we're going to start with our 14.5, okay? And we're going to end with 49.5, okay? And so it's going to give us the class width on this one, or the number of classes, so we need to figure out the class width. And so to do that, we do it just like we did before, 49.5 minus 14.5 gives us an even 35. Divide that by 5 gives us a class width of 7, okay? And so let's take this first one, 14.5, add 7. And so my first class is going to be from 14.5 to 21.5. My next class is going to start at 21.5 and go all the way to, add 7, 28.5. So my third class is going to start at 28.5 and go all the way to, add 7, 35.5. My fourth class is going to start at 35.5 and go all the way to, add 7, 42.5. Okay? Notice that our ending boundary is 49.5, so I need one more class. I don't have to do the math on this one because I know it's going to be 42.5 all the way to 49.5. Okay? And so I like to set my problems up like this, where I write them out like that. All right. So because now you can figure out the midpoint between each one of these. Okay. So just take the first class, which in this case is 14.5 to 21.5. Take 14.5 to 21.5. Add them together. Okay. And then divide by 2. Bam. That's your midpoint. It's 18. Okay. And so I write that like this. All right. So it's what is it? 14.5 to 21.5 with 18 in the middle, okay? 18 is what goes here, all right? That's your class midpoint, okay? So this one's easy. Now, at this point in time, what do we do? Add 7, just like we did with the boundaries. All right, so this one's going to be 25. Add 7. This one's going to be 32. Add 7. This one's going to be 39. But we need one more class here because they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 classes. And so just add 7 to this one. It's going to be 46. Okay? So that's what's different between these problems and the last ones. Okay? We'll do another one here just so I can kind of show you. Maybe we'll get the other type of problem in here. But now the problem is exactly like it was last time. Just take your data, click on your box in your calculator, grab your data, like that, click sort, and here we go. Let's count through. Now, notice I'm not going to use this 18 for anything right now. We're done with that. I mean, as long as I got it punched in there, we're good. All right, so, but I do need to know the class boundaries, the end point and the beginning point of each boundary, because that's what I'm going to use to count here. All right, so my first one, 14.5 to 21.5 is 1, 2. So 15 and 19 fall between that. So bam, bam, 1, 2. Okay. My next one is 21.5 to 28.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those guys right there. My next class boundary is 28.5 to 35.5. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Okay. Oops. 7. My next class boundary is 35.5 to 42.5. So it looks like just 1. So just 1. And same thing with this last one. It's just 1. All right. So do your checksum at the end. We have 16 customers. 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 1 plus 1. 16. Boom. We're good. There we go. Check. Ta-da! It worked. So, oh, wait. That was a review problem. I don't know if it worked or not. Oh, yeah. No, it did. Sorry. I was looking here. I was like, oh, where's my bar, man? So, but yeah, no, this is a review problem. Let's do another one here real quick. All right, so, man, I got to do these again later now. I'm not going to get credit for them. I'm doing them in review. So that's okay, as long as you guys kind of get the idea of what we're trying to do here. In the wild, we don't see frequency polygons that often. Most of the time, we just do histograms, all right? But every now and then, you do see these, okay? And we will see similar problems that built upon this one down the road. All right, so let's do one more here real quick. Start with a new sheet of scratch paper. All right. And so this one, frequency polygon for this data using an initial class boundary of 0.5 and a class width of 9. So this one gives us our initial class boundary and it gives us the width. It doesn't give us the number of classes. So just like in the histogram problem, we're going to start by grabbing our data and finding our highest value. Our highest value is 37. Okay, boom, I see you right there. So 37. So we need to include enough classes using the parameters they've given us to capture this 37. All right, and so if our initial class boundary is what? 0.5. 0.5. And that one's going to go all the way up to 9. So 0.5. Or no, it's going to have a class width of 5. So it's going to be 0.05. Or 0.5, sorry. Plus 9, which is 9.5. So 0.5 to 9.5. Next class is going to be 9.5 to 18.5. Yay, mental math. Next one is going to be 18.5 to 27.5. Next one is going to be 27.5 all the way to 36.5. So, and then, of course, our highest value was 37. So we're going to have a fifth class. And so it's going to be 36.5 all the way to 45.5. So I'm just adding 9 on each one of them because it gives me that number right there, 9. Okay, right there. All right. So to find the midpoint, so this one's going to be easy. I can do it in my head, but remember, just take your first class, which in this case is 0.5 to 9.5. Add those two numbers together, 0.5 plus 9.5, 10 divided by 2, 5. All right, so this value, my label is going to be 5. What's this next one going to be? 5 plus 9, right? So it's 14. So plus 9 is what, 23. Plus 9 is 32. Need one more. So 32 plus 9, 41. There we go. There's our class labels in this one. Now all we have to do is punch in the data using these values here, not these values here. Remember, these are just our labels. These are actual our class widths, okay, or our boundaries, so to speak. So here we go. Clear this out, grab all the crap, put it back in the calculator. Make sure you highlight everything. So sometimes it gets a little tricky. And so first class boundary is 0.5 to 9.5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. There we go. Next one is 9.5 to 18.5. 1, 2. Looks like just those two, 11 and 16. Next one is 18.5 to 27.5. Right, 18.5 to 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm just counting I'm just counting which ones fall between those. 27.5 to 36.5. So next class boundary, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wow, that's a lot. So, and then the last one, anything between 36.5 and 45.5, we just got one. That's that 37. So check sum on this, add them all up. So 4 plus 2, oops, 4 plus 2 plus 6 plus 8 plus 9 plus 1 gives me 22, matches up with the number that it gives me up here. Okay, so good to go on this one as well. So that's how that one works. You know, and remember my checksum, I'm just adding like the actual frequency of each of these. So that's this number right here. All right, just to make sure that I get everybody included. Always do that step at the end. Otherwise, you might actually have a problem. All right. So it turns into an extremely frustrating thing. You know, when I check the Alex progress or the progress of folks in Alex, I see a lot of folks struggle with this one. They get like one of them right, and then they'll get the next two of them wrong. And usually what the problem is that they're looking at doing these problems the same way every single time. But remember, there's two different types of problems here. There's the ones where they give you the starting and end point, and you have to figure out the class width. And then there's the other one where they give you the starting point and the width, but then you have to figure out how many classes there are. They're very similar problems, but if you don't set them up correctly in the beginning, you're going to get it wrong every single time. And then it'll generate a new one for you, but now it's asking you the other type of problem. It's like, oh, well, I've seen this before, right? And so you're going to crush that one out, get it right, but then you get the other type again, and you get it wrong, okay? So just really pay close attention to that on both of these, both the ones histogram for group data and frequency polygons for group data.